This is Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of TR Publications, and I'm very pleased to have with us again Haydn Faltyn and Jason Thals of BroadSource. Haydn and Jason, thank you for joining me today.
G'day, Doug. Good to see you again.
Pleasure, Doug. Hi.
Well, we're going to do one of a couple of podcasts today, but this one is going to be a very big interest to almost everybody, really, I think in the entire audience, but especially our carrier and service providers. We're going to be talking about taking payments over the phone, not necessarily when you're in a contact center. It's something that almost every business, small and large, probably does on a very everyday basis, collections, or even someone may be doing a little bit of commerce. So we're talking about a common thing, and it would be very easy peasy, so to say, to get out of compliance apparently, and that's what we're going to learn about. But Haydn and Jason, just tell us really quickly what you guys do at BroadSource.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. So we're kind of really interested in helping service providers add value to their UCaaS product portfolios. We've had a history of doing that for the last 25 years, and what's of really interest to us at the moment is that increasing obligation in business to be more compliant in the way in which you handle your customers' sensitive data. And one of those really pieces of sensitive data is credit cards. And we think that the intersection between service providers and unified communications that's delivering these business grade voice calls combined with credit card transactions are a really interesting intersection that we think we can help add value to from a security perspective and help service providers, importantly, have more things to talk to their customers about over the coming period.
And my understanding is you have just the product to help them do this.
Yeah, correct. We've developed and deployed now, and in partnership with many service providers, a platform called SecureCall, and it collaborates with and interacts with the service provider's cloud VoIP services. And its job is to remove the sensitive credit card details from conversations between customers and merchants, being those UCaaS subscribers. That's its job. And what it does do is allow those merchants to be able to demonstrate back through the standards, all the way back up to Visa and MasterCard and Amex and Diners, that they're meeting their expectations around the way in which they're handling customers' credit card details.
So this is huge because we're not talking about a government change. We're talking about an organization or a standard that could, if you're a company and you're outside of this standard, cut you off from being able to use credit cards as a way of getting revenue, which would be devastating to a lot of companies.
Yeah, and if you have you've had an incident, you've had a problem with a card payment, the card scheme like a Visa or a MasterCard will often go back through your banking provider and say if you don't fix that problem, if you don't address it by a certain date, then you won't be able to take Visa payments, for example, or you won't be able to take Diners, and that'd close a lot of businesses down.
Yeah. I mean, this is a lifeline for a lot of people. That's why they're on the phone collecting money with the credit card. So let's turn it around and explain to me, if I'm listening or watching this as a service provider or channel or MSP, what type of action should I be taking, first of all, with you guys, and what can I then go to my customers with?
I think it's really important right now to probably enter the conversation as a service provider sales team into your customer base about whether they take credit card payments by phone, particularly via the service provider's business VoIP network, and 4 out of 5 customers we think do. And so it's really timely right now to enter the conversation as a service provider, talking about what's called PCI compliance, which is that standard we referred to a few moments ago, and to enter the conversation right now because there's changes emerging and will be coming into effect as of March 2024. And so it's perfect timing to have a sales team in a service provider environment enter the PCI compliance emerging deadlines, which we think will drive a lot of customers towards the service provider's answer.
And with the SecureCall from BroadSource, I can actually get these customers into compliance. Am I right about that?
Yeah, so the idea is to remove a credit card being spoken between a customer and a merchant. and remove it from the merchant's environment. That's kind of the goal here. It's not really about making the service provider PCI compliant. They're a VoIP provider, and they will be in scope for assessment. And we're not really here to help the service providers become PCI compliant. We're here to partner with the service providers with SecureCall, so that in a given phone call, the merchant themselves can demonstrate that they don't get the credit card details into their business, and that's what their assessor is actually only interested in.
And, Jason, it occurs to me that this is part of a broader conversation we've been having for years about the MSP or the service provider being the trusted technology advisor. Here's an outstanding case.
It is, and I think that a security assessor going into a business to assess not only the policies and procedures of the merchant, but also all of their suppliers, they're often driving the conversation for the merchant to say, all right, go back to all of your suppliers and line up all of their certificates of compliance with things like the credit card standard. And so we're seeing an increasing number of requests to UCaaS providers who in turn are aware of the SecureCall solution from us, come back and ask us to assist. So the service provider can then use our certificate of compliance with the standard to respond to the requests that come from their UCaaS subscribing customers.
Jason, you were saying in our pre-podcast discussion, this is not, as you call it, mucking around.
It's true, and we've got examples of clients that have approached us for urgent assistance where a card scheme like Visa or MasterCard via their bank has put a deadline in front of a merchant that they need to comply or tighten up their policies and procedures by a certain date. Otherwise, they won't be able to take payments via that payment method via a Visa or a MasterCard. And for many businesses, it had shut the doors on the business. So for big businesses, it might be big fines. For smaller businesses, it could literally shut the doors on the business. So it's an important thing that we're trying to assist merchants and UCaaS providers with.
And Haydn, you were mentioning also this, in addition to killing your credit lifeline, you could be fined.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's the merchants know via their banks that if they're not compliant within a certain period, they could well be hit with some fines until they do comply. And while that's sort of being levied against the larger businesses, really fraud happens in all sorts of places from a credit card perspective, and it's really those schemes driving deeper and deeper into smaller and smaller customer bases of our service provider partners. So we're seeing this become a really topical conversation for merchants of what we think is kind of the traditional customer base of our service provider UCaaS community. So we're really wanting to extend that opportunity to more and more customers across the UCaaS install base.
Well, Haydn and Jason, thank you very much indeed for joining me today. This has been very interesting, very enlightening. Where can we learn more about the BroadSource SecureCall solution?
Yeah, firstly, thanks for the opportunity, Doug. Super hot topic at the moment, really wanting to help the service provider community. So please don't hesitate to reach us at broadsource.com.au. There's a SecureCall dedicated page there for service providers to have a look and understand how they can benefit by entering the conversation, probably make opportunities to make their services stickier and revenue attached to securing these phone calls. So yeah, broadsource.com.au is the best place to start.